I just discovered last week that another popular brand that is not like a white label type knockoff deal is actually involved in a lawsuit in New York City for killing a rescue cat. My name is Taylor Rose and welcome back to my channel. So today is actually going to be about something completely different than my usual content. I have just felt really compelled to make a video on this subject. If you usually watch my videos, you know that I am a cat owner. One of my cats is always climbing on top of me while I'm trying to film. The other's usually asleep back there. I take their safety really seriously. My house is full of cameras, so I can watch them while I'm out of the house, so I can make sure that the cat sitter comes, etc. They have robot kibble dispensers and a robot wet food dispenser and robot litter boxes and a 2-gallon water fountain. Also, I can be assured that they are well taken care of all the time, even when I'm here. You know, it helps me keep track of their diet, their potty habits. My oldest cat does have some bladder issues, so having a litter robot that can tell me how frequently he's using it, and then having the camera so I can see that he's actually peeing the correct amount for a cat is just really important. I full-heartedly support people buying things that help them take care of their animals. So it has been really disappointing lately that every time I open TikTok, there is a live of people selling this one robot. It's currently involved in a lawsuit. If you were on the internet last year, 2024, you probably saw this style of automatic litter box that killed multiple cats. They were one of those white label products where a company could just buy it and then put their label on it. So the brand name was always really different on Amazon. I saw them listed on Lowe's, Walmart, right? Essentially the problem was that this robot, the opening closes completely when cycling to empty the clumps, right? To scoop out the litter. And you can see this video here from One Man, Five Cats that demonstrates like exactly why this litter box was dangerous. And I'll go ahead and link his video in the description below for you to check out. But essentially what was happening is that the firmware that robot came with was not correct. They updated it, but that only works if you connect your robot to the internet and update the firmware. So it was not detecting cats who put their heads in, and ultimately it was like a cat guillotine. Fortunately, that style of box seems to have disappeared off the internet almost entirely. I haven't been able to find one in many months. That's a good thing. We don't want those for sale. They're poorly designed, a huge safety risk. Multiple cats lost their lives. Obviously, I won't post graphic photos here, but you can find the aftermath of multiple cats being killed. It was a big deal. Unfortunately, I just discovered last week that another popular brand that is not like a white label type knockoff deal is actually involved in a lawsuit in New York City for killing a rescue cat. The brand and model that is involved in the lawsuit in New York City is Pet Pivot. This is one of the lives that I saw on TikTok. There was another one from a different channel with this guy. It just really made my blood boil. Like, you can see they're bragging about how cheap it is now, $150. And it's like, you have an open lawsuit. On June 9th, 2025, a product liability case was filed by Frank Goltz and Stephanie Gomez, represented by Colleen Peggy Lynn, against Amazon.com, Amazon Marketplace, Pet Pivot Inc. Obviously the site where they bought the robot, Pet Pivot, the company that made the robot, and then the owners of that company. This case arises from the horrific and preventable death of plaintiff Stephanie Gomez's beloved cat Sarabi, who was gruesomely crushed to death by a dangerously defective and deceptively marketed self-cleaning litter box, the Auto Scooper 11 open-top self-cleaning smart cat litter box. And then the model number. marketed with claims of advanced safety sensors, an anti-pinch scissor angle design, and promises of automatic shutoff when a cat enters. The product represented to consumers that it was safe, smart, and risk-free. These claims are false, misleading, and dangerously deceptive. On January 27th, 2025, plaintiff Miss Gomez returned home to find her cat Sarabi's lifeless body partially inside the Autoscooper 11, crushed to death by the device. The motor was still operating, the waste bin had dislodged, and half of Sarabi's torso had been fatally crushed and trapped inside. The device failed to detect her presence, stop the cleaning cycle, or release the mechanism. Plaintiff Miss Gomez used the product exactly as instructed. Nonetheless, the product catastrophically malfunctioned and inflicted a horrifying and senseless death. New York Post has an article with statements from the owner of this unfortunate cat. You can see the photo of her here. This is the litter box in question. Here we are on the Pet Pivot website where you can see the Autoscooper 11 open top self-cleaning smart cat litter box. And what a shame, like it comes in cute colors, which I'm sure gets a lot of people. This price compared to a lot of automatic litter boxes is astronomically cheap, which again, I'm sure brings in a lot of customers. We personally have the Whisker Litter Robot 4 without any of the accessories is already $700. I pinched and saved for our first one, and honestly, like it's been life-changing, so I totally understand why someone wants an automatic litter box, but it is not worth it to get it from these companies that have little to no history. Immediately, when you get on their website, you know, it shows you the robot, it shows you the price, and then it goes straight into a bunch of 5-star reviews. You have to keep scrolling to get to any information about the box. It claims it's always open. You can see this is them showing you the sensors, which, okay, only go to the very middle of the globe and then are on the inside edge of the waist chute, like if that's what that image is telling you. One thing that attracts a lot of people to this style, it has a larger opening, so for like big cats like a Maine Coon or something, they aren't feeling claustrophobic, but it doesn't say anything about what the sensors do, what like nothing about the sensors. It just talks about how it's easy to clean and the cat goes in and then it dumps your litter and oh look, it's so easy to take the trash out. If you go to their About Us page, it claims that after years of research and development and countless design iterations, we've launched the Autoscooper 11. Supposedly, they're based in the UK. Good question. I don't know. I'm not sure how to assess the validity of this claim. This litter box does not have an app for you to monitor any errors it's experiencing, if there's any sort of malfunction about it detecting your cat. Back to the user manual. It is really bare bones. It has 16 total pages. The safety notes, your cat needs to weigh more than 3 pounds and be older than 6 months. So on one of the lives I saw advertising this, they said, oh, your cat needs to be over a year old. So which is it? My cat needs to be over 3 pounds or my cat needs to be a year old? Because that's a big difference. And I can only think that that was the response to the lawsuit going on, because it was noted that Sarabi was a smaller cat under 10 pounds. I know some people will try and convince you that the average size of a house cat's 8 pounds. In my experience, I've met very few cats under 10 pounds. My smallest cat, who people will come and say, oh, she's tiny, she's 11. Really, all it says, how to put the box into manual mode, how to return to automatic mode. You should put it on a flat surface indoors out of direct sunlight. Make sure children use this product only under adult supervision. A child should not be using the litter box. And by using, I mean emptying it, pressing buttons, anything. Pretty generic in terms of user safety. It shows you the parts of the machine. It gives you this product overview, which conveniently doesn't mention any of the sensors. It goes into installing, you put on the legs, you put together the waste canister with the bag, put in cat litter, really straightforward. It talks about how to use it. It does talk about the buttons on the front of the machine and the different indicator lights, but so if you're going off of the indicator light section, the only sensors on this machine are are 2 infrared sensors. So infrared is blocked, blinking red light. Remove the litter chamber. Wipe all infrared sensors with a dry cloth. Infrared sensor location on the base unit. See page 9. Okay. And then if there's a solid red light, waste container's infrared is blocked. So there's infrared in the globe and there's infrared in the waste drawer. For cleaning, it just tells you how to empty the trash, how to get rid of cat litter, how to clean the liner, and clean the litter chamber. So if we go back to page 9, you can see in this image, there are supposedly 3 sensors. If we go to his video from 8 months from filming, so it's August 2025 right now, you can see, you know, he has an update about the deadly machines, but he also talks about the pet pivot. In January, he mentioned this, which is also when poor Sarabi was killed. Obviously, we didn't find out until the lawsuit was filed in June. Let's watch his clip.
There is a very cheap machine called the Pet Pivot. I have tested it, which is very, let's say, inspired by the Neakasa M1. My main hesitation is the build quality, especially when I looked at the underside, which is cardboard. I'm also not 100% convinced about the safety of it. As a test, I taped over one of the main sensors and then did a cleaning cycle, and it still worked. That sensor is designed to stop a cycle if it detects something. It shouldn't cycle if it's covered over like this. There are still sensors in the waste bin which double for safety, and also to let you know when the waste bin is full.
This is most likely what killed poor Sarabi. He did update his pinned comment on the video bringing up Sarabi. He also mentions that there was a social media post that a cat was killed in the Neakasa M1. So this is the original machine that has been on sale for longer than this pet pivot. That the pet pivot is essentially copying, unfortunately, may have also killed a cat. There's a lot of speculation that this initial post he's addressing is fake because the poster was anonymous, and Neakasa claims that they have not had anybody reach out to them. They've tried reaching out to the person with no luck, and this person never came back onto social media. But there is a Neakasa M1 support group on Facebook, and this post was made August 9th, so literally 2 days ago, that their cat was killed in a similar way to Sarabi, but not quite. And so in this group, there have been 2 injured in the group. There was 1 death reported a couple months ago, but it seems fake. And then 1 death yesterday. That's all I know of. So since I don't have a Facebook, I wasn't able to search within this group. And it looks like the post with the death has been hidden from public viewing. At least for me. This is the post that One Man 5 Cats was talking about. They posted this photo. It was originally uncensored with a deceased cat, claiming that the Neakasa malfunctioned in Vietnam. The cat didn't survive, and that supposedly this girl who owned this cat and this machine has not been contacted by Neakasa at all. Neakasa did release this statement in July, because people reached out to them like, hey, we've heard about this cat. I imagine probably also with the pet pivot, people are like, these machines look identical, but they did a mandatory firmware update. Unfortunately, they can only make it mandatory for machines connected to the internet. So all M1 units produced after June 2nd come pre-installed with the latest firmware. They put an official news update on their official website. They send emails out to devices that are offline. They are coming up with a new gear design. Several months ago, they released a 3D print model for users to print a little triangular piece and put it into the gears on the side of the globe that rotate it. In this news post, they're saying that this wasn't effective, people are having issues getting it 3D printed correctly, etc. So they have started just selling the robots with altered gears now. Please rest assured that once your device is updated to the latest firmware, it is already safe to use. Replacing the gear is optional, as the updated firmware fully addresses the related safety risk. And so they show you how to alter the gears yourself on your machine, and also the magnet structure. So the Neakasa is special, and I guess the Pet Pivot copied them, in that you can take the liner out of the globe, just it's attached with magnets, versus the litter robot, it's like snapped in there, it's harder to get out. So they updated what that looks like. You can see here that the old gear had teeth all the way around, but the new gear is going to have 2 teeth removed. And this will keep the globe from rotating past a certain point. And you can also see here, this was the old magnet design, and here is the new magnet design. And yeah, it's great, but it's outrageous. We'll need to buy it instead of getting a replacement. I totally agree, Vivian. So here's this comment from Ashley explaining to someone what happened with the machine that injured a cat. It's my understanding that this last incident, the M1 over-rotated to the back when cleaning, which left an opening in the front, and the cat got stuck when the globe tried to right itself. So instead of just rotating for the trash to come out, it kept going. And so now there was an opening at the front where the cat put its head in. This post from Scarlet Wu in the Facebook group, she shares that in China, Neakasa has already rolled out a new version called the M1 Plus. According to their product description, the M1 Plus comes with 1 additional infrared sensor, the trapdoor is removed, and the silicone mat is enhanced to reduce side leaking. She says that she chatted with one of their reps about the new sensor, and they basically told her that the main function of the infrared sensor is to detect whether the bin is full. The machine uses gravity sensors in the 4 legs to detect the cat's weight and ensure safety. Aside from what he told me, in my experience, if my brush goes slightly inside the opening, it would trigger the infrared sensors and stop the machine. So I would assume if the cat goes there, the sensor would be triggered too if working properly. In other words, even though they say the infrared sensors are for bin full alert, they could still serve an anti-pinch function in some cases. So you can see her conversation here, the original Chinese and then the translation, if you want to take a look at that. Back in July, Vicky had her cat get injured, and you can say she's made several updates, but the original post shows her cat Rusty, who has had to have the femoral head removed from his hind leg. You know, your femur has a ball on the end that goes into your hip, and that's what rotates. So he no longer has a femoral head. This is actually a pretty common surgery. They do eventually develop the muscles in that area to accommodate for the fact that there's no joint. Obviously not great. It's horrible that this happened to her poor cat. But she says, on Friday, July 18th, my 15-pound cat Rusty was somehow caught in the litter box. There was litter all over the room from him trying to escape, so he was unable to bear weight on his leg, and after a trip to the ER, I found out he has a fractured femoral head. The ball of the femur will have to be removed. We're waiting for the orthopedic surgeon to schedule. I guess Rusty's number 3 to be injured. Statistically low chance of injury. Doesn't seem so impressive when it's my cat that gets hurt. She did update on July 24th saying, I have to say that I'm impressed with the company's response to my cat's injury. I had a company rep at my house yesterday to interview me and test the equipment. I even had a video call with one of the engineers. It was the middle of the night for him. It is still unclear how exactly it happened. It is all still in progress. I just wanted everyone to know that the company's being very proactive in discovering how Rusty was injured. And this is certainly more than Pet Pivot did for poor Sarabi. And then she updated again recently. Rusty's on the mend. He's recovering from surgery. He's very indignant with me over the collar, LOL. I'm still in contact with company representatives, and I appreciate all the work they've put into finding out how this occurred. It's very reassuring. Not a lot of companies would put this kind of effort in. I have no problem remaining a Neakasa customer in the future. And we will see the company has sent people to customers' houses that have had issues. You know, I think that's phenomenal. So Vern Alexander is providing updates on Neakasa's response to their post about their cat. They're supposedly updating today about Neakasa coming in to their house to see their specific machine. So we can see this post here is from One Man 5 Cats, talking about that 3D printed hard stop that now Neakasa is no longer supporting. But he points out that the force the motor exerts on the Neakasa is a shocking 34 pounds. For context, the Little Robot 4's motor is 10 pounds, and that has an overcurrent protection if it feels any resistance. If it does, then it instantly stops and moves slightly back. The Neakasa has no continuous overcurrent protection throughout the cycle, so it will keep going. The reason why the motor is stronger on the M1 compared to the Little Robot 4 is because it has a smaller gear and requires more torque. However, that's what gets me. No overcurrent protection. So he had posted this video in the group showing the hard stopper 3D printed one failing. So this is what we are assuming is what's killing the cat. It's not supposed to go that far. The litter is supposed to fall out right here, and then it's supposed to go back to the home position, but instead it continues to close. And I'll be completely honest, when I was researching automatic litter boxes, this is the reason why I did not get this box in particular. It claims to, and it should be always open when working correctly, but the fact that this motion is even close to closing off. I personally was not comfortable with that. So if we go to the Neakasa website, you can already see it is more expensive than the Pet Pivot, which was $300 full price, $175 on sale. It does have an app for you to monitor anything that's going on. It has videos from customers. Something that's different than the Pet Pivot is that this immediately goes into the safety features. It's always open, so the cat is supposed to be able to jump out whenever it starts cycling, no obstruction. There are 5 pairs of infrared sensors and 4 weight sensors. So this one actually mentions the weight sensors in the legs. And so this is the issue. It's not supposed to close, but for whatever reason, the gear is allowing it to close all the way. And at least with this machine, since it does have an app, if you turn it off from automatic cycling, you can cycle it on your own. That wouldn't have been an option with the Pet Pivot. Technically, it would have been an option with the Pet Pivot, but you would have to be at home to go press the button. And at least with an app, you can monitor with a camera, then run it if you're not home. In their FAQ, they have the user manual, and you can see it has 19 pages, so slightly longer than the Pet Pivot. It has more safety tips, instructions at the beginning. They are slightly more in-depth than the Pet Pivot. Talks about what you get. Again, the parts instruction doesn't talk about any of the sensors. It does have a link to tutorial videos. It talks about connecting the app, calibrating the litter. It does have a lot more information about the lights, and it does label the different lights. When it's cleaning, it has a green light that's breathing. And when it is resetting, it's a white light blinking, and it has it for each button. And then it talks about all the different malfunctions. At least compared to the Pet Pivot, this one does go a lot more in depth regarding telling you about any issues. For maintenance, it only talked about cat litter, cleaning the waste bin, litter chamber cleaning. Again, it doesn't talk about any of the sensors. In comparison, let's take a look at the Litter Robot 4. It is the most expensive, unfortunately. They did introduce new colors, which is fun. You can get a longer warranty. It does have a video here on how it works. So kind of a lot of a fluff, but it does show you more in detail how the machine is actually cycling, and it has the user manual right here. So if we go to the manual, download the English one, obviously there's the note from the owners, some filler pages, but they're important safety instructions. I definitely think these are more directed towards safety with the robot. You can see in total, they have 37 pages, way more in depth. Important safety instructions, components and dimensions, setting up your robot, introducing your cat to the robot, ongoing maintenance, cycles, control panel button functions, and then it goes through each button. Control panel, light bar, sensors and functions, cat presence, drawer full indicator, litter level, automatic nightlight, sleep mode, cycle delay setting, control panel lockout, whisker app, safety features, use and care, frequently asked questions, in-home trial, contacting customer experience. And you can see on their diagram of the machine, they label the sensors. One thing that I don't like is that they don't show you the anti-pinch in the waste drawer, but it does show you where the cat sensor and weight scale are. So they're the little feet on the bottom of the machine to detect any movement or weight. It goes through all of the alerts, really detailed, light-based error message. And they do direct you to a part of their website that explains these more in depth and includes any new ones. And then it gives you dedicated information about all of the different sensors in the robot. So there's the curtain sensor that goes over the opening of the litter robot to detect if a cat has entered or exited. So when your cat looks in, the robot will stop, even if the cat doesn't even touch the robot, because the cat is going to hit those infrared sensors and then pull back. Then there's the weight scale. So the base of the unit has those little feet that are detecting the weight inside the box. And I know mine's working because if I put too much litter in there, it's going to tell me immediately. For the cat presence, the litter robot is equipped with a motion sensor that monitors the waste drawer. If the motion sensor identifies movement within the waste drawer while at the home position, the unit will rotate the globe to a position such that the weight port provides egress from the waste drawer. On the off chance somehow your cat is small enough to get full body into the waste drawer, the machine's going to sense, anything moving in there. And then there's another section for safety features that aren't sensors. The bonnet, common sense, it hides the waste port from outside access. OmniSense cat detection system. The litter robot's cat sensing system is a combination of optical and weight sensors that detect your cat attempting to enter the unit during a cycle. If a cat attempts to enter the unit during a cycle, the globe will stop with the light bar displaying red, indicating the cycle has been interrupted. The cycle will not resume until 15 seconds after the cat is no longer detected. The litter robot is also equipped with a motion sensor that monitors the waste drawer. If motion is detected within the waste drawer when the globe is at the home position, the unit will rotate the globe to a position such that the waste port provides egress from the waste drawer. And then the anti-pinch, which the other machines don't have, despite claiming, oh, we have anti-pinch. The litter robot is equipped with anti-pinch sensors on both sides of the waste drawer chute to ensure your cat's safety while using the litter robot. These sensors monitor for potential pinch conditions at all times. While cycling, if a potential pinch condition is detected, the globe will stop and retract for 5 seconds. After a 2-second pause, the unit will attempt to continue the cycle. While the globe is retracting, the light bar will display a yellow ping pong pattern. So basically, in the waste port, there are 2 levers. There are 2 bars on each side that if you press against them, the machine's going to stop. They're very easy to move. And a lot of people get upset that a clump got on it and now it's mad. It's saying there's a pinch. But it's like, I would rather have the machine overreact to a clump of poop touching it than it would underreact to my cat's leg being stuck. The litter robot also has overload detection. If the globe becomes jammed or overloaded during rotation, the motor will stop and retract for 5 seconds. After a 2-second pause, the unit will attempt to continue the cycle. If the globe is unable to continue the cycle after 3 attempts, the globe will stop and the light bar will display an error code with red light bar with partial yellow flashing. So basically, this means if there is extra weight in the robot, it will not work. This is what would prevent if the anti-pinch sensors at the bottom didn't work and your cat was stuck in there and the machine was still going, it would have to put so much more effort into hitting the cat that it would be able to detect that. It would know, oh, hey, I'm putting way too much effort into this. I'm going to back off. So arguably not 37 pages of information, but certainly more information than either of the other 2 robots were providing. So this is not an ad or anything of the sort. I have no association with any of these companies. I'm just talking about posts on public social media as well as my personal experience with my litter robots that I own. Full disclosure, I originally had a litter robot 3 that was terrible. I had horrible experiences with it. I ended up having to hardwire the bonnet sensor because the way the litter robot 3 is connected, the bonnet clips into the base, but eventually the plastic just gets loose, so it's not pressing these 2 metal pieces together correctly. I got the Litter Robot 4 pre-order before it was even released. My first Litter Robot 4 was from that first round of robots that went out. It worked perfectly for, I think, a year and a half before the litter hopper was released. So that's the reservoir of litter that sits on the back of the machine and will dump some clean litter in every cycle. So you don't have to do that yourself as frequently. And once I got the litter hopper, it was revealed to me that my first LR4, the part where the litter hopper clips in to get power, something was wrong with it. At first, I ignored it because a lot of people were on the internet complaining about the litter hopper being a piece of junk. So I was like, oh, well, sucks for me. I just threw away $75 because paying for return shipping is like $30. And I was like, I'll just hold on to it. When we moved into this home, it's 2-story, and that's when Zuko started having his bladder issues. So I assumed, oh, he can't get to the litter box upstairs. He's downstairs, doesn't think he can make it, pees on something. So we got the robot for downstairs. So that was litter robot 4, number 2. And number 2, I also got the litter hopper, and it worked flawlessly. I was shook. I tried the first litter hopper on it, still worked flawlessly. And that's when I realized, oh, robot number 1 is actually broken in the back. Let me try and get it replaced under warranty. So Whisker sent me litter robot 3, just the base portion. So not the globe, not the bonnet, not the drawer. So I replaced number 1 base with number 3, and it was absolutely horrible. It was detecting cats left and right. The weight sensor was never correct. I even bought the carpet tray, and it's not even on carpet. I tried everything. It took about 2 months of me communicating with their customer service and sending videos of me following all of their instructions and of the machine malfunctioning before they said, okay, we'll send you number 4, but you have to send number 3 back. That's fine. I received number 4, sent number 3 back, and number 4 has been absolutely perfect ever since. So no issues with number 4. If I had to guess, I think number 3 got damaged in shipping and just it wasn't detectable from the box. I mean, the box was in fine condition, but clearly something had to have happened. And if I had never gotten the litter hopper, I would never have had an issue with number 1. Other than the litter hopper not working, the machine was flawless in terms of cycling. I'm not here to tell you that like Whisker is the god king of all automatic litter boxes or anything, but I will say it's obvious to me that they have a much higher number of sensors and fail safes for their robot. Plus, they've been around for over 20 years. This is the 4th iteration of the litter robot. So I just wanted to compare and contrast the two, at least to explain why I personally didn't feel comfortable with some of the other options out there, or at least this other style. Personally, a lot of the ones more similar to the litter robot are also a lot smaller. My one cat's kind of chunky. All of that to say, clearly there's zero evidence of Pet Pivot even acknowledging the fact that their machine killed a cat. At least Neakasa is taking multiple steps and really pushing it out there that they're having these issues with their machine. I can only say that this reaffirms my choice of choosing to save up for the litter robot. I sincerely hope that Sarabi's parents receive the justice that they deserve. I can't imagine. I cry just reading about her. And I'm hoping that even if that initial cat being killed by the M1 is false, clearly there are issues with these other cats experiencing serious injuries. I know this was a darker video. Thank you for sticking with me. That's all I have for you today. I will see you next time.